Last life, I joined an idol selection program, but during the public performance round, I stumbled unexpectedly, delivering such a pathetic and unsightly show. The label of failed contestant clung to me, causing my company to hastily freeze all my activities and blacklist me. From then on, I was like a kite with a broken string, gradually spiraling into depression, until the very end, never getting another glimpse of the stage lights. While I silently fell into an abyss, those who were once my teammates soared like kites in the wind, becoming sensationally famous across the country. It wasn't until the final moments of my life that I learned the truth. It was all a setup. They used a system to exchange my fate, stealing my opportunities and the spotlight that should have been mine. But destiny granted me another chance. Reborn, I bound myself to the entertainment industry's anti-cheating system. This time, I will reclaim every single thing, principle, and interest. Whatever they stole from me, I will make them return with their own hands. As an eliminated contestant, I was not only frozen by my company, but also endured a hailstorm of public criticism. Eventually, severe depression led to a grave illness. At that moment, I lay in a hospital bed, my consciousness hazy, my body chillingly cold as if drained of all vitality. A soft click echoed from the door, then a familiar voice drifted into the room. "It's all clear, you can come in. Remember to call reporters. Take plenty of photos for propaganda. I'll buy trending hashtags, praise you all as kind souls visiting an old teammate, guarantee you'll soar like kites in the wind again." It was their manager. After a brief call, the door was pushed open. A group of people shuffled in, followed by reporters, cameras eagerly pointed at me. It was the girl Group 4, who had debuted less than half a year ago but were already famous nationwide, boasting tens of millions of fans thanks to their bright visuals and barely adequate performing skills. But now, in a space without watchful lenses, their masks immediately fell away. One girl grimaced and pinched her nose, complaining irritably, "Ugh, this disinfectant smell is horrible. Let's just finish quickly, I have another schedule later." Another tossed her chin disdainfully. "How unlucky, forcing me to come all the way here to visit her. It's an eyesore. Anyway, she won't live much longer. Just take a few random pictures for social media and be done with it." Someone walked to my bedside, leaned down, and took my hand, feigning closeness. It was Fiona, the leader. "Mia, long time no see. How did you end up like this? So pathetic." I once thought she was my best friend. What a pity I misjudged her. Half a year ago, they and I participated in an idol selection program. I loved the stage since I was a child, always dreaming that one day I could use my own feet to step into the dazzling lights. So, I placed all my hopes on this debut. But gradually, I felt something was wrong with me. Despite practicing day and night, the dance moves and melodies that were once etched in my mind would suddenly vanish every time I stepped onto the stage. Meanwhile, Fiona and the others were lazy all day, just going through the motions of practice. Yet, when they performed Charming Pearl, it was as if they had practiced it 100 times, receiving endless praise from the audience and coaches. I became the opposite, the black sheep among a group of shining idols. They said I was lazy, that I didn't practice, which was why my performance was so terrible. But the truth was, I spent 18 hours a day in the practice room, sweating profusely, to the point of not getting enough sleep. Even so, I was never as good as them. I once thought it was because I wasn't talented enough, so I worked even harder, almost eating and sleeping at the practice room. Until I discovered that during rehearsals, they were still clumsy, while I was perfectly smooth. But as soon as I stepped onto the main stage, my memory felt forcibly wiped clean. I tried to record a video to prove it, but I was falsely accused of sabotaging my teammates. A storm of public opinion hit, causing me to collapse and be hospitalized for depression. It wasn't until the final days of my life that I understood the truth. They had all signed contracts with various systems. One had the charisma system. Just by standing there, she would automatically be liked by everyone. Another had the sloth system. The lazier she was, the faster her abilities improved. Another had the eccentricity system. The crazier and more bizarre she was, the more attractive she became. And Fiona, she had the swap system. She targeted my diligence, saw my true potential during rehearsals, and deliberately befriended me to use the system to steal everything. She took my efforts, my debut opportunity, and even the dream I had pursued for so many years. On debut night, they stood under the dazzling lights, receiving thunderous cheers and applause. As for me, I sat in a dark, unnoticed corner, like a wet mouse in a gutter, only able to look up at them with yearning. I thought my stage dream was over. But as I was packing my belongings to leave, I was unexpectedly offered a contract by Fiona's company. They said they saw my efforts and would give me preferential treatment for a solo trainee debut. At that time, I thought I had won the lottery, unaware that a terrifying trap lay hidden within the sweet, lucrative cake. That contract was Fiona's tool to continue using the swap system to manipulate my life. She told her manager that I was a perfect contrasting example. She claimed I was the type of person who faked hard work, while she herself was naturally brilliant. The more netizens adored the radiant Fiona, the more they despised me, a struggling failure. And she was my good friend. I was a stepping stone for her beautiful, kind, and talented image, while she trampled on me to claim her place at the pinnacle of fame. The day I was hospitalized for depression after the scandal, I accidentally overheard a conversation between her and her system, and I finally realized the truth. But it was too late. My life had been destroyed by them. In a hidden corner away from the cameras, Fiona leaned close to my ear, whispering words that cut like knives into my heart. Jealous. Everything I have now was originally yours. But what can I do? Who told me I had a system? No matter how hard you try, as long as I give the command, everything that belongs to you will be mine. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being unlucky enough to cross my path. Every word she spoke choked me, making me tremble. I wanted to shake her hand off, to scream at her to get lost, but I couldn't. I was dying. Why? Why could they use a system to get ahead through backdoor methods? Why could they brazenly steal everything from others and still live prosperously? Those who cheated with systems lived in the spotlight, while those who genuinely worked hard were trampled into the mud. I refused to accept this fate. Just as my consciousness was about to fade, a ding echoed in my mind. Detecting host's powerful will, initiating connection. The entertainment industry's anti-cheating system has been activated. Please live a brilliant life for yourself. When I opened my eyes, I found myself lying face down on a desk. I lifted my head and looked around, startled to realize I had been reborn. I was back at the very beginning of the idol selection program. A familiar voice reached my ear, the same old face, ingrained with bone-deep hatred, slowly approaching. "Hi, can I sit here?" It was Fiona. She was meeting me for the first time, still playing the role of a timid, innocent girl. At this moment, her eyes were clear, her ambition not yet revealed. Her system, unlike the other three, couldn't randomly swap with just anyone. It had to choose a suitable target. In my previous life, after I caused a sensation with my first performance, Fiona immediately targeted me, befriended me, won my favor, and then completely swapped my future away. This life, I won't let history repeat itself. I have to protect myself. Last life, I didn't know how to hide my talent, but this life, I understand better than anyone that hiding my true abilities is the way to survive long-term. My gaze met hers, cold and sharp, making Fiona fluster and instinctively step back. Seeing that I didn't respond, she gently asked again. There were many empty seats in the waiting room, but Fiona was determined to sit next to me. Her system must have given her instructions. I curled my lip, my tone casual yet icy. "You can't sit here." Fiona froze when she heard me. "What did you say? There's clearly no one next to you." I smiled seriously. "Ah, that's because you have spinach stuck in your teeth." Fiona immediately turned pale. Without another word, she hastily turned around to find a mirror. Taking advantage of that moment, I finally had time to talk to the system in my head. "You say you're the entertainment industry's anti-cheating system, meaning you can block all their cheating systems, right?" "Indeed, I can activate it whenever I want. It's exactly like having a jamming device during a test. Whether it's the charisma system, the sloth system, the eccentricity system, or even the swap system, once I desire it, they will all become useless." "Host, would you like to activate the system now?" "No, not yet. The moment I nod, all those dirty systems will immediately lose their effect. Then those cheats will become useless, pathetic on their first stage, and be eliminated outright. But that's too bland, too easy for them. it would be a missed opportunity for a truly satisfying downfall. I mused, quickly outlining a plan in my mind. No, it's better to let those cheats devour each other. Dog eat dog is much more interesting. The first performance was about to begin. This was everyone's chance to make a first impression on the audience and coaches. Everyone took it seriously, everyone prepared meticulously, except for those cheats. The one with the charisma system was Luna. At this moment, she was sitting cross-legged, filing her nails, looking relaxed and confident as if everything was already in the palm of her hand. It had to be said, among the 4 systems, hers was the most dominant. The trainees sitting nearby whispered, "Luna was truly born to be an idol. I'm already falling for her. She just stands there like a female lead from an idol drama. I haven't even seen her perform, and I already feel defeated." The one with the sloth system was Layla. She let out a long yawn and lazily said to the person next to her, "If I lose, I lose. At worst, I'll go home and sleep. Why am I not anxious? Because I was born a salted fish, a true warrior of sloth." Everyone looked at her sluggish attitude and thought she had no potential, but I knew it was all an act. The lazier she was, the more people dropped their guard. The more she neglected practice, the higher her abilities climbed. Enjoying benefits without working for them, wasn't that the perfect definition of a sloth system? Then there was Nora, connected to the eccentricity system. She was currently crawling under a corner, eyes bloodshot, twitching and screaming madly. "Ahaha, going crazy, I'm about to lose my mind, I want to go completely insane." Those around her were so scared they avoided her like the plague. And Fiona, after I shut her up this morning, she was now approaching another girl, shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, intimate as old sisters. Sensing my gaze, she turned and smiled as if nothing had happened. In front of others, Fiona always knew how to project a beautiful image. It was thanks to this that she was chosen as the team leader. Just then, the stage assistant called my name. It was my turn to go on stage. Fiona immediately followed, even though her turn was after mine. She smiled gently. "You're Mia, right? I've heard about you. Your singing and dancing are amazing. I'm really looking forward to your performance." I looked at her indifferently, a faint laugh in my heart. Who was she performing for? She must be planning to watch my performance and then decide whether to choose me as her swap target. But it seemed she was about to be disappointed. I changed my performance program at the last minute from singing and dancing to a solo song. Even on stage, I intentionally held back, singing half-heartedly. I even deliberately sang a few wrong notes. The coaches below frowned, their faces showing dissatisfaction. One of them spoke, "Mia, right? I saw your preliminary round profile. You were at the top. But today, it was really not good, very disappointing." I obediently bowed my head, accepting the feedback without a single word of rebuttal. As I stepped off the stage, I saw the 4 cheats waiting backstage. Everyone had a gloating expression, as if they had just witnessed a farce, especially Luna. She flipped her hair, walked closer to me, and smiled like a cat toying with a mouse. "Oh my God, I thought you were a formidable opponent. Is this all you've got? And you even got assigned to the worst class. If it were me, I'd just withdraw from the show to save face." As soon as she finished speaking, the others burst into laughter. Fiona was the one laughing the loudest. She had initially thought I was a strong opponent and had been annoyed when I shut her up this morning. Now, seeing me humiliated by others, she must have been gloating as if it were a holiday. I offered a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Just keep laughing. The harder you gloat, the harder you'll fall later." Because I hadn't activated the anti-cheating systems features, the 4 thieves from my previous life, thanks to their systems, shone brilliantly from their very first stage. All 4 were assigned to Class A, the best class. Coaches and audience alike praised them endlessly, with unprecedented enthusiastic reactions. Although it's still a bit early to confirm anything, if you all maintain this performance level, the final debut spots will definitely be among you. After the first public performance, contestants were ranked according to their actual abilities. I deliberately hid my talent, so I was pushed down to the lowest class, Class F, according to the show's schedule. After the first round, there would be 2 more evaluation rounds. Staying or leaving depended on these 2 performances, but I wasn't worried at all. I was confident in my foundation, and this time, I had the anti-cheating system's support. The tragedy of my previous life, where all my efforts were stolen, would never repeat. The one who should be worried now was Fiona. After the opening stage, she finally believed that I had no real talent, not enough to be her swap target. but the person she hastily chose to replace me only knew how to sing, completely failing to meet the comprehensive requirements she desired. Meanwhile, the other 3 cheats performed exceptionally well, making Fiona fade into a shadow in the lineup. Because of this, she was gradually deliberately suppressed and scorned by the other 3, enduring implied sarcasm from them every day. The second evaluation was approaching, and Fiona still hadn't found a suitable target. She began to panic. At midnight, I just left the practice room, intending to go to the bathroom and then rest. As I was about to leave the stall, I heard Fiona's voice from outside the door. It seemed she was talking to her system. Honestly, her system was a low-level one, incomparable to my anti-cheating system. My system was something that could connect directly with consciousness. Why haven't you found anyone yet? Do you know how anxious I am? The public performance is coming up. If I don't perform well this time, there'll be no way to salvage my reputation. Last time, you told me to approach Mia, but she has no real talent. How am I supposed to swap abilities with her? I don't care, you have to find a way for me. Why am I so unlucky to have such a useless system like you? Look at those 3, everyone has a stronger system. Fiona's voice was full of irritation, and she began to insult her own swap system. I stood in the stall, frowning in thought. It seemed Fiona was starting to resent the other 3. Good, let them devour each other. I'll just watch. Among the 3 remaining system cheats, the easiest to target right now was Layla, the one with the sloth system. I put on my earphones, pretending to just walk past, completely oblivious to the conversation I had just overheard. Fiona startled when she saw me. She thought I had been eavesdropping. What did you say?" she asked, her face slightly pale. Seeing me take off my earphones, Fiona breathed a sigh of relief. She then asked cautiously, "It's so late, what are you still doing here?" "My stomach hurts," I casually made up an excuse. Of course, I couldn't let her know I was practicing until late. As I washed my hands, I deliberately asked, "I hear Class A is full of talented people. Everyone must be very diligent, right?" Fiona glanced at me, then began to play the role of being humble. "Oh, it's just normal. We have natural talent. We can get into A with light practice." I truly admire that. I heard Layla in your class is especially unique. She always talks about giving up, but she always comes in first during evaluations. If only everyone had abilities like hers, that would be great. I looked in the mirror, catching Fiona's downward gaze and tightly pursed lips. This was her habit whenever she was deep in thought. She was wavering. Of course, everyone has different abilities. Not everyone can be like Layla. I should really focus on serious practice. With that, I left the bathroom, but I didn't go far. I merely lurked in the adjacent hallway, just close enough to hear what was happening inside. Sure enough, a moment later, Fiona spoke again. "System, if I want it, I can swap anything, right? Then this time, I want to swap with Layla." The second public performance day quickly arrived. Since I was in Class F, my performance group consisted of contestants of the same level. I maintained my strategy of holding back my true skills, but even with my efforts to conceal, someone noticed. "Mia, you're hiding your trump card, aren't you? Planning to unleash it only during the actual performance?" It was Spring, the second girl I'd ever seen work so diligently. The first, of course, being me. I arrived at the practice room at 5:30 a.m. Spring would be there by 6:00 a.m., always conveniently bringing me breakfast. I practiced until midnight. She left half an hour earlier but always left a nightlight on and a late-night snack for me. As time passed, we gradually became close. "Why do you say that?" I asked with a smile. Spring didn't hide anything. "I know I don't have what it takes to be an idol, I'm just here for fun, but I'm still capable enough to recognize who has real talent. Mia, with your abilities, you shouldn't be in Class F." For a fleeting moment, I suspected she knew something. Just as I was about to ask, Spring chuckled. "Well, that's your choice anyway. I'll probably be eliminated this round, but you'll definitely move forward." I opened my mouth to say a few comforting words, but felt they held no weight. Instead, Spring turned and comforted me. "Hey, don't underestimate me. My family has a company waiting for me to inherit." I laughed, saying nothing more. The performance order was arranged randomly. Coincidentally, our group was scheduled to perform right after Fiona's group. The organizers even placed both groups in the same waiting room. Just like her first appearance, Luna maintained her nonchalant demeanor, with absolute confidence in her charisma system. Spring, as usual, was shouting, dancing, and rolling around everywhere. Fiona and Layla were identical. Both outwardly declared they would give up and not bother practicing. But the moment Fiona finished speaking, Layla immediately turned, rolled her eyes disdainfully, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Some people should stop imitating me. If your system isn't good enough, imitating me is useless. I'm talking about you, Fiona. Why do you have to imitate me? Fiona didn't even bother to acknowledge her. Instead, Nora, who was acting out her eccentricity, was afraid Layla would continue to expose the system, so she didn't dare to scream anymore and rushed to mediate. All right, her imitating you isn't going to kill anyone. It's not like you're losing a piece of meat. We're about to go on stage, talk less. After they left the stage, I stood in the wings, arms crossed, waiting for the spectacle. The music began. According to the rehearsal order, Layla should have sung the first line. Yet she stood frozen like a statue, unable to remember even her initial stage position. She held the mic like a hammer ready to strike her own head. As soon as she began to sing, the first note was so off-key it almost made the judges spit blood. The others winked and gestured repeatedly, but she remained motionless. Just then, Fiona stepped forward, blocking Layla, and sang her part instead. Her pitch was perfectly accurate, her technique impeccable. In an instant, all attention on stage shifted to Fiona. No one in the audience cared about Layla, who stood dazed behind her. Outsiders might not have noticed, but I, standing backstage, saw everything. Layla's eyes at that moment looked like she wanted to tear Fiona apart. At this point, if she still didn't understand what was happening, she truly was a blockhead. She had realized why Fiona had imitated her laid-back attitude before the performance. It was because she had been swapped. As soon as they returned to the waiting room, Layla didn't bother to hold back in front of everyone, slapping Fiona squarely across the face. Fiona, you shameless wretch, how dare you scheme against me in your plan? This humiliation I suffered is definitely because of your dirty tricks, isn't it? It was you. Fiona, who had just been praised by the judges, her spirits high, soaring with arrogance, was slapped and rage shot to her head. Yes, I did it. But do you have proof? Who told you to underestimate me? If you're untalented, don't blame others. Arg, I'll kill you today. The two immediately lunged at each other like two wild cats, one pulling hair, the other tearing clothes. It was a truly satisfying spectacle. I stood in the corner of the room, secretly taking out my phone and recording the entire incident. Then I sent the video directly to the marketing account I had contacted beforehand. Although the show had rules against bringing phones or contacting the outside world, rules are rules, and people are still people. As long as the phone didn't appear on camera, secretly sending a few messages was easy enough. This show was extremely hot. Any slight disturbance would immediately trend. Releasing the video of the two fighting would surely cause a storm. The reputations of both would plummet uncontrollably. I glanced around and noticed I wasn't the only one recording. Others also pulled out their phones, eagerly recording, no one bothering to intervene. Everyone hoped to eliminate a competitor. As for the other two system cheats, Luna and Nora, after learning that Fiona had swapped Layla's system, their hearts were also filled with deep unease. They began to worry, fearing they would be the next targets. So, when they saw Fiona being hit, they not only didn't intervene but stood by, arms crossed, watching. The chaotic scene only ended when security guards intervened. Both combatants were dragged away, disheveled, hair messy, faces smudged. Online, this incident exploded like a bomb. To quell public opinion, coupled with Layla's terrible performance and her instigating the brawl, the show decided to eliminate her from the competition and downgrade Fiona to Class F. After a chaotic episode, only 3 system cheats remained. Fiona's standing in the eyes of the other two also plummeted uncontrollably. She couldn't endure the shock of dropping from Class A to F, but she still maintained her arrogant, haughty attitude, which made everyone despise her. Every time I passed by Class F, I heard people whispering criticisms about her. At the end of the public performance, I rose from Class F to Class C. Spring, however, was eliminated. She was the only person I genuinely liked on this show, so I decided to see her off to her car. Unexpectedly, Spring wasn't sad at all. Instead, she smiled and comforted me. As she was about to get into the car, she unexpectedly slipped a card into my hand. If you ever have any ideas later, just contact me. I looked down. It was a business card. Spring Dong, CEO of Zenith Entertainment. What was this? So she was telling the truth. It turned out Spring's family really did have an entertainment company to inherit. Zenith was the largest entertainment conglomerate in the country, and the selection show I was participating in was produced by Zenith's rival company. Spring was undoubtedly the daughter of Zenith's chairman and had just taken over the company at this time. Needless to say, she was truly bold and audacious, daring to directly enter a rival company's show as a contestant. I carefully put the business card into my pocket. On my way back, I coincidentally saw Luna and Nora pushing Fiona onto the rooftop. Their secretive attitude was suspicious. I knew eavesdropping wasn't nice, but with system cheats, normal standards couldn't apply, so I quietly followed them. Fiona, you know why we sought you out today, don't you? There are only a few days left until the final performance, so we need to talk clearly. There are 4 debut spots. Initially, we thought the 4 of us would each get 1 spot, so the system's secret would be buried forever. But now Layla has been eliminated, leaving 1 spot open, and we need to consider carefully. Hearing this, I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh in my heart. Luna was truly delusional. She actually thought that just having a system guaranteed a debut. Since the show started filming, I had never seen her set foot in a practice room. All the achievements she gained were only thanks to her charisma system, a natural fan magnet, while the efforts of other contestants were completely trampled upon. Fair? Of course not. This last debut spot, I absolutely would not let them easily snatch it away. I'm warning you, Fiona, if you dare to use your swap system on us, I swear I'll ruin your reputation before you even get a chance. Luna gritted her teeth, her words sharp as knives, then revealed her scheme. I just secretly overheard the director saying there'll be a secret live stream tomorrow to attract more fans. Later, remember to perform properly, don't mess up like last time. And you, Fiona, where's the person you chose? Dropped straight to Class F, how embarrassing, right? Fiona's face darkened, wanting to retort, but unable to find a justifiable reason. A secret live stream tomorrow, so that's it. They deliberately came to mock me just to prepare to shine in the live broadcast. Unfortunately, I wouldn't allow them to have their wishes granted. It was time for the anti-cheating system to take the stage. That night, when everyone was asleep, the production team secretly installed hidden cameras in every area of the training facility. The next morning, those cameras began to operate silently. Every frame was transmitted to the live stream room without anyone knowing. As usual, at 5:30 a.m., I was already in the practice room, warming up and practicing choreography according to schedule. At this time, the number of viewers in the live stream room was still sparse, but the first comments had already started appearing. Unbelievable are trainees this dedicated now, waking up to practice before 6:00 a.m. Anyone in the bathroom right now, hit 1. Oh, who is this girl? She looks pretty cute. So fake, she must be acting for attention. Some people are too negative. Can't you stand it when someone genuinely tries? I stayed in the practice room all morning. Previously, to save time running back and forth, I would just eat a sandwich for lunch. But today was different. Today, I had to be in the cafeteria because a spectacle I couldn't miss was about to unfold there. At lunchtime, the cafeteria was packed. I queued for food, then chose a quiet corner to sit. Not long after, I saw Luna, Fiona, and Nora storm in with an aggressive aura, heading straight for the table right in the center, the most eye-catching spot, with a hidden camera already positioned above it. Clearly, they had scouted the location. Just then, the director unexpectedly stepped out, holding a microphone. This afternoon, we're going to play a little game. Everyone knows the ball passing game, right? When the music stops, whoever is holding the ball will perform a segment. Everyone looked at each other in confusion, not understanding why there was such a sudden performance today. Luna's group, however, stirred with excitement, eyes like tigers stalking prey. When the ball was passed to Nora, she clutched it tightly, refusing to pass it on. As expected, she was invited to perform. Nora stepped out into the spacious hall and then suddenly flopped onto the ground. Oh, she's about to have one of her fits. Those present were already accustomed to these attention-seeking antics, so no one was surprised, though they were still curious why Nora's skills would suddenly become amazing after her trance. But the audience watching, the live stream, was witnessing this for the first time. Whoa, what's happening? Going crazy in the cafeteria. I believe it now. This is definitely an unannounced live stream. Who would dare act like a lunatic in front of a camera? It's like pooping in the street. Just scrolled and accidentally. What show is this, seriously? Nora, after her customary fit, gave an okay sign to the director, signaling him to play the music. Unexpectedly, as soon as the music started, her limbs stiffened like wood, and she almost tripped over herself and fell flat on her face. I couldn't help but chuckle. No way, I remember her skills being pretty good. Is she still not over her fit? The most bewildered person was Nora herself. Why wasn't her fit trick working anymore? Was it because she hadn't acted hard enough today? Yes, that must be it. She could only come up with such a reason. So this time, Nora decided to escalate to a level 2 fit, screaming shrilly, her mouth twisted and eyes wide as if possessed, then gave the okay sign again. But instead of dancing, she switched to singing. The problem was, the moment she sang the first line, the entire room fell into a deathly silence. It was unbearable, truly unbearable. So unpleasant it was like fingernails on a chalkboard, sending shivers down everyone's spine. This is an all-rounder idol. Did she just escape from a mental hospital? I think they should stop the live stream and take her to the emergency room. What's wrong with Nora? She wasn't like this on the show before. Stop hiring people to write puff pieces. With skills like these, she'd struggle to sweep the streets. The director also felt embarrassed and quickly sent someone to pull Nora off. She still clung to the stage. "Director, give me one more chance." She had hoped to build an image of an eccentric but supremely talented artist, but instead, she ended up portraying herself as a mental patient in urgent need of hospitalization. That was just a small glitch, the director covered up with an awkward smile. Let's continue. This time, the ball was passed directly into Luna's hands. She stood up, adjusted her dress, and walked forward with a confident demeanor. Everyone must be tired from practicing lately, so I guess no one wants to watch another performance, right? How about this? I used to be a model, so let me do a runway walk for everyone to relax. With that, she didn't bother waiting for reactions from below. She calmly changed into high heels and didn't forget to blow a kiss towards the camera, thinking it was utterly captivating. But oh, the moment her left foot stepped out, her right foot twisted. A ridiculously clumsy fall that sent the entire dining hall into an explosion of laughter. I took a sip of water and almost spat it out. Why does Luna seem so fake today? +1, you're not alone above. I'm dying of laughter, everyone. She used to be a model but can't walk in high heels. So funny. That's too over the top, isn't it? Seriously, Luna, how did she even get into Class A? She can't sing, she can't dance, what is she good at? I'm wondering why I voted for her before. I must have been blind. Luna fell flat on her face turning pale then flushed red. She crashed to the ground right in the middle of the stage, while the audience laughed so hard they couldn't speak, truly wanting to disappear into the ground. She stubbornly stood up, determinedly taking a few more steps. She finally stumbled to the end of the runway, but her walk was indescribably pathetic. Just minutes before, she had boasted about being a model, but now it was truly a self-inflicted blow, without missing a beat. The comedic effect was off the charts. As she stepped down, she passed me, muttering incessantly, "No, it can't be. Why isn't it working anymore?" After 2 consecutive awkward falls, the director gave up and couldn't be bothered to continue the broadcast. It was well known that Luna and Nora were the program's ace cards. Everyone thought they had debut spots in their hands. Now, what a mess. They thought the live stream would boost their popularity, but it caused their reputations to plummet uncontrollably instead. They didn't gain many fans, but they gathered a basketful of ridicule. These people would definitely lose quite a few fans after this incident, and were at risk of becoming a laughingstock in the entertainment industry for a long time. The director at that moment probably just wanted to bang his head against the wall. After the live stream, those parasitic system users were silent as mice. They must have known how embarrassing it was. Actually, that day, after activating the system, I deliberately turned it off, just to make them think it was a system malfunction. The real show I was saving for debut night. After the second public performance, I was promoted to Class B, while Fiona, I don't know what trick she used, but thanks to her system, she jumped straight back to Class A, so the 3 of them reunited in Class A as if nothing had happened. they secretly experimented for several days, and only when they were sure their systems were no longer malfunctioning did they reappear with their arrogant confidence. Seeing me sitting alone in the practice room reviewing song lyrics, all three suddenly rushed over to mock me. "Why are you still practicing? There are only 4 debut spots. Do you think you can squeeze in?" "Exactly. A Class B member dreaming of debuting? Ridiculous." I didn't bother to reply. It seemed the fall during the live stream wasn't enough to make them sober up. No matter. Tomorrow night, that fateful night, I would make them remember forever. That afternoon, after the final rehearsal, the ultimate debut stage finally arrived. After putting on my makeup, I stood alone backstage, gently closing my eyes, silently rehearsing one last time in my heart. In my previous life, I also stood here, carrying intense hope, wishing that my performance could touch the hearts of the audience, could reach my debut dream. But what happened then? Everything was stolen by Fiona. On the very stage I most longed for, I was turned into a laughingstock. Before the cameras, I couldn't sing a complete line, couldn't execute a full dance move. In the end, all that remained were disappointment, tears, and the audience's angry shouts. I quietly left the competition like a defeated person, without fanfare. Fortunately, the system gave me a chance to start over. This time, I would not let anyone steal my achievements. The 3 of them had also prepared meticulously, dressed splendidly, with victorious expressions. Luna had even pre-written her debut thank you speech and scheduled it for immediate posting. I stood aside, clearly observing their every move. Go ahead and enjoy yourselves, because tonight will be an endless nightmare for you all. Luna originally wanted her group to perform last to dominate the entire stage, but Fiona said, "Let's perform early to be safe, in case the system malfunctions again." Convinced by these words, their group finally chose to perform first. I secretly thought, what a pig teammate. Performing first and flopping means flopping twice as hard. Host, the entertainment industry's anti-cheating system, is ready to activate. All cheating systems interfering with fairness will be disabled. 3, 2, 1. The performance of those 3 was truly a national disaster. They were out of sync, their dance moves were like a chicken having a seizure, and they walked as if they were about to fall over, missing only a giant disaster sign above the stage. The audience below booed relentlessly, some even shouting for refunds. What is this? This is a final performance. Definitely biased. How can people like this get into the final debut night? Ever since that live stream, I've been suspicious. Their previous performances must have all been staged and edited. I poured a ton of money into supporting Luna. Give me my money back. Return my money. What's wrong with this show? Eliminating so many talented trainees and keeping these 3 disasters. What for? The angry shouts boomed like thunder. The 3 on stage stood frozen, not knowing where to hide. No matter how hard they tried to call out, their systems remained silent as the grave, as if powered off. This was their true face. When the aura from their systems vanished, they had nothing left. Compared to those who worked tirelessly day and night for a meager debut spot, these individuals who ignored effort and only relied on schemes truly deserved no sympathy. The performance ended and the show continued. It was my turn to go on stage. I had reclaimed the life they had stolen. And tonight, this stage was where I would transform and be reborn. Farewell, past. Embrace the spotlight that belongs to me. I took a deep breath, lifted my skirt, stood up, and took steady steps forward. This time, I chose the same song as in my previous life, but after experiencing life and death, my mood during the performance was completely different. My hand on the mic was slick with sweat as I poured my heart and soul into every note, letting my emotions flow with the music. Every movement was recreated exactly as I practiced, without a single flaw. I stood on stage, attracting all eyes, striving, slowly rising. Waiting for the moonlight, waiting for the dawn, waiting for the day to bloom. Amidst thorns, still blooming vibrantly. My voice resonated throughout the stage, and my world at that moment was like the boundless ocean. I was like a mermaid, finally returned to my familiar deep sea. When the performance ended, I didn't give a lengthy thank you speech, simply bowing deeply, showing gratitude to the stage and the audience. There was a moment of silence, then cheers erupted like a surging tide. Ah, who understands this feeling? I'm in love with this girl. Compared to those 3 clowns earlier, she's a world apart. Oh my God, it's like a silent treasure that had finally been discovered. Mia is truly super diligent. I saw her practicing from 5:30 a.m. during the secret live stream the other day, rising from Class F on the first stage to stand here today. Ahaha, following her is truly the best decision ever, everyone. When the MC read out the names of those officially debuting, the entire studio held its breath. Topping the charts this time is Mia. Congratulations, you have officially debuted at #1. Resounding applause, long and ceaseless. My eyes welled up as I turned to see the #1 shining brightly on the big screen. Finally, amidst the vast sea of people, I had reached my dream. Host, the system's mission is complete, preparing to Jai Chu Bindung. The thorns have fallen away. May your life from now on be expansive and radiant. After the performance, my name immediately dominated the entire internet. An extremely generous contract was sent to me by the show's production company. But at this moment, people like Fiona had to taste defeat. The feeling of falling from the peak to the abyss was anything but pleasant, especially when a wide, light-filled path lay ahead, only to be suddenly blocked. They could see the future, but their hands could grasp nothing but gray emptiness. Fiona silently packed her bags and left. Luna was unwilling to accept, wandering the streets, grabbing strangers and asking if she was beautiful, only to receive cold glances in return. As for Nora, it seemed she had truly gone mad. She was screaming and thrashing everywhere, utterly losing her mind, even covering her face and crawling like a crazed beast. A kind trainee tried to help her up, but Nora unexpectedly bit her hand, tearing off a patch of skin. I stood watching it all, feeling no pity, just casually uttering, "What a pity." Others might have thought I was pitying Fiona's group, but no, I wasn't. I was pitying my past self and all the girls who had been trampled upon by them, those who had poured out so much sweat and tears. Under everyone's stunned gaze, I flatly refused the contract from the show's production company. In my previous life, my life had been tainted by that very company. All the terrible memories stemmed from there. My instincts screamed at me to stay away. Not to mention, Fiona's manager, one of the powerful hands that had bled me dry, also belonged to that place. I couldn't get involved with a company like that again. I shook my head, turned, and walked away from the building. I pulled out the business card Spring had left me and dialed the number. A bright laugh rang out from the other end. "Hello, is this Mia? I knew you'd call me. Haha, welcome to Zenith Entertainment." Hanging up, I looked up at the sunlight piercing through the clouds, reflecting off the sparkling glass of the skyscraper. All the darkness that once enveloped me had now vanished. The path ahead was wide open, and even if storms came, I would not be afraid. The end.